In less than 3 seconds, a predator has already decided your fate. There's a pattern you fall into, and they see it instantly. The trait is hyper-responsibility, the compulsive need to fix, solve, and manage everything around you. To a manipulator, this isn't kindness. It's a hunting signal. They scan you for it in seconds. The way you rush to fill awkward silences. How you apologize when someone else bumps into you. The automatic way you take blame for things that aren't your fault. What you call helping. They read as access. Watch this happen in real time. Someone mentions they're struggling with something. Before they even finish the sentence, you're already offering solutions, already taking on their problem, already making it your responsibility to fix. That impulse, that's what marks you. Here's how they detect it. You're in a group conversation. Someone makes an inappropriate joke. Everyone feels the tension. But you're the one who laughs to break it. You're the one who changes the subject. You're the one who manages the discomfort for everyone else. They're watching. They see you absorb the social friction. They see you take responsibility for other people's emotions. They mark you as someone who will carry their burdens. The traits that make you a good person are the same ones toxic people hunt for. Watch how this shows up. Fast. At work, something breaks. You fix it. In a conversation, tension rises. You manage it. In a relationship, they're overwhelmed. You carry it. Different situations, same signal. You take responsibility immediately. To you, it feels responsible. To them, it confirms you can be used. Here's the pattern. They create the problem, you solve it. Then they create a bigger one. And this is where most people miss it. You're not helping. You're being trained. They test you with small things first, or they're late and don't apologize. You make excuses for them. They forget something important. You remember it for them. They make a mess. You clean it up. Each time you take responsibility for their failures, you're showing them you'll do it again. You're showing them you can be loaded with more. You thought it was just bad luck until you realized they sense traits. But it's not luck. It's selection. They can spot hyper-responsibility from across a room. You're the one who notices when someone looks uncomfortable and immediately tries to help. You're the one who feels guilty when others are upset, even when you did nothing wrong. You're the one who can't relax when there's a problem to solve. This isn't empathy. This is compulsion, and they can smell it. At this point, most people think they're helping. They're not. This is where it becomes obvious, not to you, but to them. Here's the rule. If it's not yours, don't touch it. Not emotionally, not mentally, not physically. Because the moment you do, you've already agreed to carry it. First, pause before you help. Ask yourself, is this actually my responsibility? Not could you help, not should you help, but is this yours to fix? If it's not yours, don't take it. Second, let other people experience the consequences of their choices. When they're late, let them be late. When they forget something, let them deal with it. When they create a problem, let them solve it. Your job isn't to rescue them from their own decisions. You realized you were a magnet for toxic individuals, but it wasn't random attraction. It was targeted selection based on this one trait. They don't want someone strong who will challenge them. They want someone responsible who will carry their load. Someone who feels guilty saying no. Someone who takes blame automatically. That's you. Here's the test they run. They create a small crisis. Maybe they double book themselves. Maybe they forget an important deadline. Maybe they have a conflict with someone else. Then they watch. Do you jump in to help? Do you feel bad for them? Do you start problem solving immediately? If you do, you've passed their test. So you've shown them you'll take responsibility for their poor choices. The consequences escalate quickly. First, you're helping with small things. Then you're covering for their mistakes. Then you're doing their work while they take credit. Then you're managing their entire life while they blame you for everything that goes wrong. You became their personal responsibility absorber. You feel exposed and vulnerable when you realize how this works. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. But here's what happens when you try to change this pattern. They escalate. They make bigger messes. They create more urgent crises. They guilt you for not helping like you used to. This is the long game. They've been training you to be responsible for them. When you stop, they increase the pressure to get you back in line. They'll tell you you're being selfish, that you've changed, that you don't care anymore. They'll create emergencies that feel like only you can solve. This is the test. Will you go back to taking responsibility for their life? Or will you hold your boundary? Most people cave. They feel guilty. They think maybe they are being selfish, so they jump back in and take responsibility again. If you keep doing this, you fail the test. You show them that pressure works, that guilt works, that they can always get you to carry their load if they just make the crisis big enough. You train them to create bigger crises. Here's what they're really testing. Not whether you'll help once, but whether you'll help forever. Not whether you're kind, but whether you're controllable. Not whether you care, but whether you'll sacrifice yourself for their comfort. Your hyper-responsibility isn't a personality trait to them. It's a resource they can exploit indefinitely. You've shown them you're worth testing. Every time you jump in to help, you're confirming their assessment. Every time you take blame that isn't yours, you're proving their point. You're not randomly attracting difficult people. You're being selected by people who recognize your compulsion to fix everything. The trait that makes you feel valuable makes you a target. The thing you think is your strength is actually your vulnerability. The behavior you believe helps others actually enables them. Now that you see it, you can't pretend you don't. Because every time you do it again, you're not helping. You're confirming their decision. Stopping the behavior is only half the problem. The real issue is the signals you're giving off before you even speak. Watch this next, because once you see them, you won't miss them again.